Bear Grylls Adventures, the Volcano Challenge. Chapter 4, Glacial Progress. Charlie and Bear spent the next hour trudging down the mountain. The volcano rumbled and grumbled behind them, a consistent and clear reminder of the need to stay alert. Before long, Charlie saw the ice. At first, he assumed it was a narrow band of snow. Then he remembered Magma Quest and knew exactly what it was. "That's a glacier, right?" he asked. There was a glacier level in the game. He scored a lava level he had to get over a stretch of slippery, slidey ice without skating over the edge. "That's right. Think of it as a million-ton river moving really slowly downhill." "Cool," said Charlie. It looked a whole lot easier than where they come from. Imagine they'll soon be sliding over the ice, quickly getting to safety. As soon as they reached the edge of the glacier, Charlie gasped. It wasn't sparkly white like in the game. It looked gray, mixed up with ash and dirt, and it just didn't look easy either. At the edge of the glacier, it was like they were standing on the edge of the world. The glacier stretched out in front of them for about 100 meters, but it was down to the left that Charlie was down a steep drop. The bottom was so far down you can only see it. Charlie had seen some awesome stuff on his screen. It couldn't match the view. But if he peered over, he could see the slope of the volcano at the bottom, carrying on downwards. He took in a couple lungfuls of the cold air. "Are we going to climb down?" Yes. He could tell it wouldn't be easy, but surely there would be massive ridge and handholds in the ice cliff. He reckoned they could do it. Bear wasn't so sure. "This isn't good," he said grimly. As he studied the cliff below. "Yeah, but isn't it better than back up there?" Charlie asked. "Ice was way easier to cross than lava, wasn't it?" "It's too dangerous, Charlie," Bear said as he looked around. "We don't have the right equipment to deal with ice." "Isn't there a way?" Charlie thought about how there was always a way to complete a level in a game. He just needed to keep having a go until you cracked it. "I'm afraid not," Bear smiled. "Safety first, Charlie. Always. There's no way we can climb over this lot, not without risking our necks." Bear went on. "If we fell, even if we survived the fall, the chances," Bear went on, "if we fell, even if we survived the fall, the chances are that one of us would have a broken arm or a leg. And that will make it even harder for us to get out. Charlie thought about this game. If you lost a life, you just started again. But Bears had said that they only have one life each here on the mountain. Oh, Charlie tried not to sound disappointed. Well, at least we tried. Absolutely, Bear agreed. We tried the safety opinion first, or for loot. Fortunately, we now have to try a less safe opening. But we're still getting off the volcano, right? Charlie asked. He glanced back the way they had come. The column of black smoke was rising up the volcano. Charlie wondered whether it was looking a bit bigger and darker. We are, Bear agreed. We'll try another way down. See this? He pointed at a trickle of water at the edge of the ice. The glacier is melting and all that warm water run off somewhere. How about if we can find where it goes? They walked down the slope, following the water along the edge of the glacier. The longer they walked, the more Charlie realized that the old edge of the glacier was turning into water. The ice at the edge was so thin that you can see right through it to the rocks below. A small stream was flowing downhill next to it, like rainwater running down a gutter. That's something else Magma Quest got wrong, Charlie thought. In the glacier level, the ice just stayed there. It didn't melt. When he got back to camp or anywhere near a Wi-Fi signal, he would be leaving seriously negative review of the game. The game creators absolutely didn't know anything about real volcanoes. Absolutely, the trickle at the side of the glacier got stronger and turned into a small stream. That's when Bear stopped and pointed. The stream disappeared down a hole in the ice, about a meter wide. Well, that settles it, Charlie, he said, a smile spreading across his face. We can't go over it, so we're just going to have to go under it. A 1,000,000-ton river, and they were going to go under it? He thought for a moment. Bear had said there wasn't any other ways. Charlie knew he could trust him. Okay then, champ. Bear looking him in the eye. We were crawling through meltwater, so it's going to be really cold in there. Bear looked serious. There's no way we can evade getting our hand and the wheat knees wet. But we gotta try not to get any wetter than that. And if the tunnels start getting too narrow, we'll just backtrack. Backtrack? Yeah, but I hope it won't come to that. Remember, all this water is going somewhere. Whenever the water is going, we can go there too. Ready? Charlie swallowed hard and nodded. Sure, he said. We could do this, couldn't he? Bear crouched down and went in first. For a moment, Charlie wondered whether the tunnel might not be so cold. After all, they were on the side of a volcano, weren't they? It only took a couple seconds for Charlie's question to be answered. As soon as the water soaked into Charlie's glove and through the knees of his trousers, he knew Bear wasn't kidding. At first, his finger went numb. Then they started to throb. They had never aged this much before, even when he'd been at home jamming the keys for hours as he played games into the night. He even moaned about it with his mate after a long season, but now he felt stupid he ever complained, and that discomfort him nothing compared to be cool like this. Thinking about home made him feel funny inside. He wished he could be back there right now. Charlie knew that he needed to think positive, so he told himself that when he got back, he'll be the only one who can say, "Oh yeah, once I was up this volcano and we got away by crawling through an ice tunnel in the middle of glacier." It was at home he never had an experience like this. Maybe a bit of discomfort was worth it. The tunnel sloped gently down, and as they crawled along, Charlie noticed that the sides were completely smooth. They were knobbly, and they made Charlie imagine that the glacier was a huge animal and they were crawling along its inside. A loud noise brought him out of his daydream. It was a groan, but he was sure it wasn't coming from him or Bear. Charlie stopped and listened. The sound returned, but this time it lasted longer. Creak, creak, creak. "What's that?" he asked. His voice sounded all wobbly. The tunnel was too narrow for Bear to turn around, but he paused and spoke gently. "It's just the glacier moving. Don't worry, I know it sounds scary, but we're okay." "Really? Really? It probably moved about 8 metric a day. That's pretty slow, right?" "Right," thought Charlie. "It's nothing to worry about, just the sound of a million tons of ice moving around over my ice." The deeper they went into the tunnel, the darker it became. But there was the same blue color to the ice. It was fainter now. That made it even more eerie. Bear," she said after a while, how far do we have to go?" Bear couldn't look around to talk. He was still in the dark shape ahead of Charlie, but he stopped crawling and spoke in a clear, gentle tone that Charlie found reassuring. "Well, we know the glacier's about 100 meters across up top, but that's straight across, so we're going down, so it will be longer than that. And it twists and turns, so short answer can't say, 'How are you doing?'" "I'm okay," Charlie said. I think." He could have said his hand and knees were freezing cold and wet, but what could Bear do about that? He was numb and sore, but he could keep going. He knew that much. That was all really mattered.
拿着。
Education, Charlie, the tunnel split in front. What shall we choose, left or right? Charlie thought about this. If this was a game, you need to think logically and apply the rules to help him choose. So what rules did they have to follow out here in real life? But I suppose the water must know which way to go, Charlie said. It still flow downhill. It had to because of gravity. Good thinking, sport. It sounded impressive. And if it was flowing down a block tunnel, it would just fill up. So we should follow the stream. Charlie could hear Bear was smiling without having to see it. Left it is, then. They crawled on, and Charlie felt better. It was funny how the cold and the pain were more bearable when he was building confidence. The end of the tunnel came suddenly. One moment, everything was the usual dim blue color, and when they come around a corner, then the light turned bright white. Daylight was streaming in from ahead. The round tunnel grew wider, but the killing closed in and got lower, so low that they had to get right down into the front. They elbowed their way along for the last few meters. Charlie's face was just inches from the damp grit and gravel. When they were through, the killing of ice vanished, and Bear was helping Charlie to his feet in the open once more. Wow, said Charlie as he turned around. They were facing a giant cliff of ice. It was so tall that Charlie had to crane his head back to look at the top. You could still see the column. You can still see the column of smoke from the volcano, but the glacier was so big that he couldn't see the top of the mountain itself. We came down that, he explained. Go us. To right, said Bear, grinning. Infinitely easier crawling through it than climbing down it. You did great, Charlie. Really good job. We'll catch a break here, then push on. Besides, he said, looking down at Charlie's soaked legs and hand, we can both do with drying now. Thanks for watching. Bye.